My name's Nick Van Praag. I direct the Ground Truth project at Keystone Accountability, which is all about bringing the voice of affected people into the humanitarian response process. I guess the reason that we need to think these things through carefully is because the scale of the crisis is so huge. From the Colombian jungles through the deserts of North Africa, the arc of instability from the Middle East all the way through to Afghanistan and Pakistan, on to Myanmar. But the scale of the crisis is huge, and the scale of the response, or the necessary response, is equally large. I think in the face of the enormity of these issues, it's really important to try and understand the difference between right and wrong, if you like, in the humanitarian sphere, to avoid tokenism, to avoid rhetoric, and to try and make sure that we really focus on the issues that matter. There's a tremendous danger that humanitarianism is hijacked, used to justify all manner of activity. So I think it's really important that we have a very clear understanding, and we reflect hard on what this understanding means. What is the bedrock of humanitarianism? And I think, you know, the three elements that are absolutely crucial that we keep in mind are the neutrality, the independence, and the impartiality of humanitarian action. And if we keep these issues at the forefront of our minds and use them as a litmus test, it will really help, I think, in terms of ensuring that the kind of humanitarian action, or the kind of action that's undertaken in the name of humanitarianism, actually warrants that label. I think in this incredibly complex environment, the public is the ultimate arbiter, or ought to be. Certainly in countries in which the public have a say, they have a very significant role to play in holding politicians to account for the kind of humanitarian work that's done either directly or indirectly through international bodies, the UN, the big international humanitarian organizations. So the public have a very important role in ensuring that their own governments play their necessary role. But they also have a direct role to play. And for that, they need to understand clearly what's going on. More and more people are involved directly on the ground in faraway places very often, or on the home front. And it's very important that they understand what's going on. They also provide a very significant level of financial resources to the humanitarian effort. And if those resources are to be used effectively, it's very important that people focus on the kind of work that's being done with those resources and the kind of results that are being achieved. When I began working in the humanitarian space in the 1980s, I guess my motivations were a mixture, and this is not unusual, a mixture of sort of idealism, trying to do something to help people less fortunate. There was an element, a dose of romanticism, the idea of working in exotic, faraway places. I guess in the intervening decades, the scales have fallen from my eyes somewhat. And my main goal now, my principal motivation, is to try and make a system which has grown hugely since I was first involved. I think funding or spending on humanitarian work last year was in the region of $17 billion. So this is a very, very significant global endeavor. And my motivation at the moment is to try and make the system more effective, more responsive to the people that are at the receiving end of aid. If we place the beneficiaries, the so-called beneficiaries of humanitarian action, at center stage, that will have a galvanizing effect on the system overall, and that will help us achieve the goals that so many of us share to do a better job of providing assistance to people who find themselves in dire circumstances and have very little choice, but have very many smart ideas. And it's those ideas that we need to harness. It's that dialogue that we need to cultivate. And it's the changes in the way programs are designed and the system indeed operates that we need to encourage.